I'm going to make a quick video on how to change the lock, a helmet lock specifically, for a 2007 Ninja 650 to work with any key that you have. This bike was damaged, so we had to replace the undertail portion of the bike with a new one, and obviously you can see this key doesn't work. So I'll do a quick step-by-step on how to do it. All right, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to remove this C-clip here, and that is going to help you remove the portion which keeps tension against the lock through this spring here. So you're just going to push this out right here like a standard C-clip, and then this whole assembly should start to come apart. And then, so this clip here and this spring, this whole thing will pop out. All right, so after a little bit of pushing with a screwdriver, this C-clamp starts to come right out. And then you're going to take this spring here, push it over that lip. You can see this whole assembly is loose already. You could almost do this by hand, just like that. The whole piece comes out. All right, so after you remove that clip, this is the most complex part of this. You're going to, there's going to be a couple of tumblers in this area here that you're going to have to depress. You have to use a pick, and you're going to kind of wiggle the key that you have, which will help you get pressure on the lock, and you kind of push those tumblers, and eventually the cylinder, you'll be able to push it right out. It just kind of, you don't really have to push much, but the one tumbler might be caught up. It's hard to, caught up on a lip in here. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it's right in the middle, and you'll be able to push the whole cylinder right out immediately. But you just kind of wiggle it. There's no lock pick or anything that's required to do this. Although I have a couple here, but it's just because I don't have picks in general that help you get in small. So you kind of do need picks, but they don't have to be specific lock picks, and you really don't need any lock skill to do this. All right, after you pop that housing off, you're going to be presented with these tumblers right here. And then I will show you what to do with them. All right, so as you can see, all of the, I don't know if they're called tumblers or what, but that's what I just call them, are sticking up, and that's actually what holds the cylinder into the housing that it's in. And as you insert the key, you'll see that most of them pop down, some pop out on the other side. But what you really need to do is have all of these be flat. So there's two ways to do this. You can remove all of the tumblers, or you just remove the ones that continue to stick up or stick out the bottom. And you do that with a pair of pliers. I'll show you in a second. All right, so you just take a pair of needle nose pliers and you grab these tumblers, and you'll notice there's a little spring. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. This is tough. Pretty tough with one hand. But yeah, so you're going to grab it like this and see if I can shake it out. Either way, pulls right out. No big deal. All right, so you remove all of the tumblers except for, and I kind of skipped this part, but the last one, the deepest one in the lock, is the one that rides in that groove there. You're going to leave that one in, because otherwise the cylinder is not going to be held in anything by anything. This serves a dual purpose of holding the cylinder inside the lock and, serving as the, it's like a capture. It works as like a capture device thing. And once this is under spring tension again, this will work with any key that's the same size. It doesn't matter how it's cut, but the lock will function. All right, before we wrap this up, my last tip is I wouldn't remove all of the tumblers. I would just check and see which ones are your problem tumblers and really just It's more of a rekeying at that point than anything. Because if you only leave this last one in, anything that you can stick into that cylinder will turn it. So a screwdriver or any key that fits. But this at least is more of like a rekeying. And you'll see, like, even though this is not the key meant for this, it still operates. You know, I put in as many as I can of these tumblers. And then you just slip it back in and it clicks in. I'll show you that in a second. All right, so I replaced 3 of the tumblers out of the 6 that work with this key. And then you are going to take your housing. And you're going to, I'm sorry, looking at the wrong thing here. You're going to take your housing and you're going to feed your lock back in, wiggle it in, use your key until it seats, and then kind of push this one in here like this. And it slides in, and then you'll watch. Oh, 1 second, it's tough to do this one hand. So it's flush on the front, and then you're just going to turn this until that last tumbler starts to come up. Sometimes it's a little sticky. Hold on 1 second. All right, so sometimes this is a problem that you'll find is that you put a tumbler in and you didn't look at the bottom of it and it was sticking out and the lock doesn't work. So I'm going to go back and find out which one's no good. This happens a lot. It's a lot of troubleshooting, and then what professionals will do is actually file it and do things like that. So it fits properly. I'm not a professional at all. All right, so here's the lock. I got 1 tumbler in without doing much work, and I'll give it what's called a screwdriver test. Stick your screwdriver in there and see if you can turn it. If you can't turn it, say it's good enough for government work. All right, thanks for watching. That's all I got for you. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.